Welcome to the Head Over Heels podcast, dedicated to helping you build the business and life of your dreams. We'll be sharing tips on management, leadership, strategy, marketing and mindset, and much more. Let's get started with your host, Angela Cedran.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Heads Over Heels. I'm your host, Angela Cedran. How would you like to know the secret to having an invincible mindset no matter what life throws at you? Well, you're in the right place if you do, because today's guest is Donna Edmiston, and Donna comes all the way from Scotland. I can't do her any justice in introducing her, so I'm going to let her do that. Hello, Donna.
Hi there. Hi, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So mindset is something that we all have to work on a daily basis, but it's something that I feel should have been taught in school because it's so important. We all have things in life that are thrown at us, some more than others. I've had a lot of adversity and a lot of things that have been really difficult in my life, but every day I work on my mindset. I do daily rituals, and I genuinely look in the mirror now and I really like the person that I see, and I want to bring that to other women and for them to see that they are enough and that they're fantastic.
But Donna, you are fantastic. You know, you've gone straight into the mindset piece, but tell our audience a little bit more about you, because you have the most remarkable story. And I'm keen for people to hear you and get to know you.
Okay, so I have quite a story. A lot of it goes around my health, because from a very, very young age, I had serious back problems, which led to me not being able to walk, my mum having to give up work to look after me, having to get home tutors and things like that into my house, and really being isolated from the rest of the world. That became a real issue when I did go back into school, because I wasn't really accepted. People thought that I thought myself better than other people and things like that, and it transpired that I was really, really badly bullied, to a point where I actually had a nervous breakdown. So I've got a history of depression and anxiety, and you know, I had to come through a lot of things to become the person that I am. But throughout my journey, I went through some trauma, and within 2 weeks of the trauma, I actually developed fibromyalgia, and then later was diagnosed with ME as well. It went down pretty rapidly for me. I couldn't walk. I was on around 35 pills a day, including morphine. I wasn't really sure even sometimes what day of the week it was. I had no life whatsoever. I basically existed. And I knew that there had to be more. There had to be something more than this existence, because life is tough and life does throw things at you, but there's lots of beautiful things in life as well. And I just had to find that again. So I had been on holiday, and the sun had made a huge difference. I basically went on holiday from being in a wheelchair, and within a few days I was walking. And because I was walking, my sister was getting married, I was actually able to walk down the aisle with my sister, which was like the most amazing thing ever. But when I came back home, living in Scotland, it's very cold, it's very damp, and I very quickly went back to the way that I was. And I just thought, no, there's got to be more. I've had a tiny little piece of it, and I've seen that I can be this person, so I need to find out. So at the time, I was sponsoring a little girl in Honduras, and I was putting her through school, and I decided that I was going to go to Honduras and volunteer teaching English. So I got myself all organised for going. I got to the airport and I was like, what the hell am I doing? I was so scared. I'd never been so scared in my life. All my family were like there with me and they were like, you're doing, you're amazing. You're so brave. You're so fantastic.
You were.
But behind it, I was thinking, I think I'm actually losing my mind because I don't know if this is good or not. And when I got to Honduras, it wasn't all plain sailing. I was very, very exhausted for the first few weeks. The people that I stayed with, as much as they became friends, at the beginning, they didn't quite understand why I was there. And they were like, we're not here to be looking after someone who's sick.
Yeah.
Which was a really, really difficult thing to take in. But I went away, I cried, and I was like, oh, this is just awful. And then I was like, no, I'm here for me, and I'm here to change my life, and it actually isn't about anybody else. So I'm going to do everything I can for me, and these people can like me or they can't. It's up to them. But for me, the importance is finding out if I can get a better life for me and moving forward with my future. So it completely changed my life. Working in a third world country when you see so much poverty, so much sadness, but so much happiness at the same time. These kids and things, they've got just nothing, but they're always happy. They've no shoes on their feet and they're living in like 10 people into 2 rooms and no electricity, no bathrooms, but they are so happy, and they can teach us a thing or two because they are amazing. And it really did completely change me. And I loved teaching and I was so passionate about it. So when I came back again, it was quite a shock to the system because it was completely different. I remember walking into my flat and just crying because I had everything really. And where I had been, it was just, they really didn't have anything, but they were so grateful for the smallest thing. So even though I got sick again because I was back in the country, I made the decision that I was going to become a teacher. So I trained to be a teacher from my bed, and I passed all my exams, and I went out to Spain and I taught, and I absolutely loved it. I was so happy I had taught children and adults, and I was like so in my element, and life was good, and I was like dating again, and everything was just like how a normal person's life should be. But I had explained to my employers that there is a good chance that every now and then my body was going to crash because it was a chronic illness that doesn't just go away. And I was, yeah, no problem, it'll be fine, we'll help you. And that was not the case at all. So 3 times I ended up in different jobs in the hospital, basically being fired from my job. And it was awful. It was soul destroying. And I came back to Scotland because I was like, this isn't right. There isn't, I know that I have to be in the heat, and I know that I'm very good with people, but I have to figure out what's actually going to be good for me and for others. And I didn't want to work for someone else because I didn't want someone else to have that power over me again.
Yeah.
Where, I'm like, I'm doing my job and I'm doing a job really well, and then I'm sick and that's it, I'm gone. So it was like, it didn't matter at all. So I came back and I started training in NLP, in hypnotherapy, time techniques, EFT, and life coaching. And I'm recently just finished all that. But from day one of starting that, I started working on my mindset. I wrote on, the first thing I done was I wrote on my mirror, I am enough. And every day I would look in the mirror and I would tell myself, I am enough. I am enough. And then I would, like, more and more start, like, around my house, put little post-its and things like that. And I just worked on myself every day. And I've got to a place now that, although I'm still living in Scotland at the moment, I'm hoping that's going to change, because the heat does,
Sorry, it's so powerful. Go on, sorry.
It's okay, I get really emotional, but I'm passionate about it as well. And, you know, my whole life has, like, changed through this. My mindset's so different. I do yoga, I work on myself, and I really like the person that I am now. And since I've been working on myself so much, I actually see that so many women out there, they don't like who they are, and they don't understand who they are, and they just kind of go through motions. Some won't even look in the mirror. They have such body issues, and they're just so down on themselves, and they don't realise all the amazing gifts that they've got. So as a coach, that is what I want to promote. I want to be a women's empowerment mentor, and I want to let these women see that they are amazing and that they can do anything, and if I can do it, then they can do it.
Wow, that is honestly, I've never spoken to someone before like you in an interview that has made me cry, and I'm so humbled that you're actually talking to me, and then just the things you say resonate so much with me as well. You know, you are incredible. You're still standing. Life has thrown all sorts of stuff at you, and you are still here. And you know what? Wow, so many other people would have folded. But the thing that there's a few things for me that have really resonated with what you've said. And the first is, you know, you are not married and you're not in a partnership. So no. It's like you against the world. And in many ways, with me raising my son on my own as a single mother, I know what it's like to say, well, I don't have anyone else to rely on, you know, when all of this happens. So that's quite scary. And like you, I didn't like working for somebody else. I mean, my issues were not as bad as yours, although I was quite bullied in one of my roles, which really demoralized me. But by the same token, I completely understand what you mean. I mean, you want to live a life where you can follow your passions and and do the things you love, but then not worry about that particular issue anymore. And that issue of, am I still going to be employed? Because you're in charge of your own life. So you've really made that decision to say, I don't care what happens around me. I'm taking control now. This is my passion, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think you're very lucky in the sense that you've probably found that at least 10 years before I ever did, which is a wonderful thing as well. You know, you don't have to waste another 10 years trying to work it out and being unhappy in a role. So I'm so excited for you because, wow, I mean, with your story, and you're so empowering and you're so passionate about what you do, I think you're just going to make such a difference in so many lives.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So tell me, if you had to give the people watching us now three tips on how they can really overcome some of their mindset blockages and the issues that life throws them, what would you tell them?
So I would say take it one step at a time. Every day, change one thing. So start doing a morning meditation, or just write on your mirror, I am enough. Start talking to yourself in a kinder way. There's so many small things that you can actually do that will eventually make such a huge difference. It's like you've got all these things going on in your life, and you get overwhelmed. And sometimes, one thing I would really say is learn to breathe, right? And that sounds like such a strange thing to say, but your breath is everything. We breathe, and we breathe shallow. We breathe from here, and we don't really breathe into our stomachs, into, if you just close your eyes, even for 5 minutes a day, and just listen to your breath and just stop. Just stop. Don't think about what, like the washing that you've got to get done, or that you've got to pick someone up from school, or, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get all these things done today. Just stop. And also, don't be worried about if thoughts do come into your head, because they will. But just allow them. Just allow them to come into your head, and then just let them pass. Don't take any sort of notice of them, and just allow yourself to be, because we never do. We just always think that we've got to be this amazing person for someone else. We've got to be happy. We've got to be focused. We've got to be like everything that everybody else wants us to be. But what about us? And what about how we feel ourselves? So I would say, change one thing every day. Learn to breathe.
Yep.
And have a morning ritual.
A morning ritual.
Because the way that you start your day is the way that the rest of your day will go. So if you start your day on social media, looking at everybody else's life and looking at how like good or bad or whatever it is, then straight away you're in that mindset. Oh, my life's not as good. Oh, why has that person got this and I've not? And it puts you into the wrong mindset. So even 10 minutes just to do something, anything, it's up to you. About yoga, about dancing. I even get up and put music on now and just have a little dance after I've done my ritual. Something that makes you feel good. Writing in a journal, anything, whatever it is for you. Take that time. Just take that time for yourself.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm going to start practicing that more when I go to sleep, because I tend to have all this monkey chatter in my brain, and I think that's a terrific tool to do. So I'm going to practice that tonight as well. And I particularly like the make one little change a day as well. That sounds really interesting. So tell me, you mentioned you are about to launch a course.
I am, yes.
And what's that all about?
So the course is about, it's a 12-week program, and it's about taking people from haddock to happiness. So people who are feeling like life has just got on top of them completely. They're maybe not happy with their body image and looking in the mirror. They maybe don't know how to eat properly and nourish their body. They've had a lot of issues in their past life that's maybe led to issues with mental health, and a lot of our the way that we think comes from the first few years in our life, because we're programmed the first 7 years. So what you learn and hear and are taught during that time actually shapes a lot of your life. So what I want to be able to do is to be able to go back and help people with those limiting beliefs, help people with those stuck states that they have, and bring them forward. You can't stop a memory, but you can change the feelings around it. So you can go back into that memory again, and you can bring new feelings to that memory, so that you no longer have that sadness or that guilt or something else that brings you down. It brings you down, and it actually affects your whole life from there on in. The thing with the mind is it takes the path of least resistance. So it wants to do everything the easy way. So if you're got a limiting belief about something and you've said to your mind, oh, no, I don't want to do that, then your mind will make sure that you don't do that by making you ill, or by making you panic, or in some way your mind thinks it's doing you good. Yeah, it's doing you a favour. And obviously it's not, but when we go back to like caveman times, when we had the need for like fight and flight, then that was the reason that the mind became like that, and you had to like fight lions and all these kind of things. So when we get fear now, it's the same feeling, but there's not really actually a need for it. So it's helping people to understand that you can change these limiting beliefs. You can change the way that you think. You can be more positive, and I can help you to do these things. So the 12-week program is going to bring in mindset. It's going to bring in limiting beliefs, hypnotherapy, all the tools that I've been using. It will include lots of videos and workbooks and things. I'm also planning on having like a group so that we can chat and there can be like an accountability. So, because a lot of people struggle if they're doing something on their own, so having someone else just to say you can do it is something that
makes
really
a big difference. Yeah,
it's huge.
Family friends don't always understand. Often they'll try to keep us safe, so don't put yourself in a vulnerable position. Or friends might, instead of telling you what you need to hear, might sort of say to you, don't worry, it'll get better,
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you just need a good kick up the backside as well, or you need someone to say, no, it's got to be done differently. And that's where a coach comes in, and that's something families don't do. But I find also being in a community of people who are like you support each other. One might say, oh, I've had a really shitty day, and another one will say, oh, I had that last week, but you know what, do this and that, and wallow if you have to, but then you'll get through it, and check in tomorrow, and then they check in tomorrow. And so there's a real power in those communities as well. But, what you're doing is so needed, because we seem to be living in a world now, particularly the Western world, where everything has got to be done now. There's pressure, there's stress, there's social media, there's, deadlines, and we just don't have that basic happiness that you saw in Honduras, and that gratitude as well. It's never enough. And it's not a question of not wanting to improve your life or wanting more, but it's sometimes just saying, like you said, I am enough.
Yeah.
My mother made a comment the other day. We were looking at a magazine or something, and the models in the magazines are like 12 years old now. Yeah. So, the average woman doesn't want to look like a 12 or a 13-year-old in a magazine photo shoot. We are women, and we get older, and it's okay whether you're 45 or 35 or you get wrinkles or not wrinkles. It's who we are, and to be happy with that is a tremendous gift. It's not something we're all automatically given. Some of us have to work on it. So absolutely. Thank you so much. I am so excited about your program. I think it's going to be life-changing for so many people.
I hope so. That's exactly what I want. I want to really help and make a difference to as many women as I can, and just help them to see that they're amazing.
Yeah. And you will. I'm so glad you're part of our group as well. And I call you my warrior woman. So,
I love that. I actually love that.
Yeah, no,
it's strange because people tell me like you're brave and you're strong and things like that. But sometimes I'm just me. Do you know what I mean? I don't really think about it. But sometimes when I stop and hear what other people are actually saying, I'm like, yeah, I have achieved quite a lot in my life, and I am still standing, I am still here, and I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. So,
Yeah. Well, it's a blessing. I'm so thankful that I have met you. I'm so thankful to have you on the show today, because your message is incredibly powerful. You are a remarkable woman, and you are going to do amazing things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really love it, and I love the group and the community. And yeah, as you say, it's an amazing thing to have. it's like powerful to have other women to be there for each other and to support each other instead of bitching and putting each other down. It's like we'll build each other up, and that's fantastic. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, and it's a big part of my philosophy as well. I went to an all-girls school, and we had some of that bitching and carrying on. We had some great girls too in a great community, but it's the ones who support each other that are going to go further.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela.
I'm going to follow your journey with great joy, and hopefully you will come into my program and give the girls a good chatting to about mindset as well. I'd love that if you could do that.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been another edition. This has been another edition of Heads Over Heels. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.
This episode of Head Over Heels, the podcast for female entrepreneurs, has ended. But be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to help you create the profitable and successful business and life you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.